Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, October 3rd, 2017. I am Jennifer Richardson with the details. Seeking to uplift the nation through prayer, the Ministry of Education and Ecclesiastical Affairs, in collaboration with the National Day of Prayer Committee, hosted a National Day of Prayer here on Monday, October 2nd. Marking the 10th year since its inception, the day's activities culminated with a rally at Heritage Square, which heard a number of addresses and prayers by government officials, religious leaders, students, and other persons from the general public. Nikita Tony tells us more on the event in this report.
Bind us together, Lord, bind us together with cords that cannot be broken.
Arise and go to the Father. That's the theme under which the National Day of Prayer NDOP Committee, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, National Reconciliation and Ecclesiastical Affairs, hosted the 10th Annual National Day of Prayer activities on Monday, October 2nd. The day began with devotions in school throughout the country, along with prayer sessions on local radio stations, and culminated with a rally at Heritage Square, which began at 3 p.m. Delivering welcoming remarks at the rally was Chairman of the NDOP Committee, Pastor Sean Roberts, who commended the hard-working men and women of the committee, as well as the entire Vincentian public, for making the day a success. He also urged all Vincentians to call upon God, no matter the circumstance.
Today I'm here to declare there's good news in Jesus. There's hope in Jesus. There's salvation in Jesus. And I'm here to call up our nation, our men, especially our young men, to turn to God. Put down the guns, put down the violence, turn to Jesus. There's always a better way. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, National Reconciliation and Ecclesiastical Affairs, Maureen Williams, expressed the ministry's hope for the event to serve as a reminder that as a people we cannot serve without constant guidance from God.
A demonstration of a show of support on a national level to what Vincentians do on a daily basis, and to present our petitions to our Creator as a national body, serve as an energizer for us to continue to pray. It is an acknowledgement that with the skills, gifts, knowledge, and talents the Creator has endowed us with, we operate at optimum level only with His input.
Delivering remarks on behalf of the opposition, Member of Parliament for South Labour, Nigel Stevenson, said there is a need for Vincentians to go to the cross as the nation has strayed from the ways of God.
I must recognize where I have deviated from the principles that were instilled in me as a child. I must recognize that I have deviated from the principles of the Bible. And I believe, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that is why we are in this far country. If we don't do that, then it is going to be chaos. What we are saying here is just the smoke. And I'm saying this, I'm saying we, because politicians need the Lord. Politicians are absolutely nothing without Jesus Christ.
Emphasizing the effectiveness of prayer, Prime Minister Dr. Afghan South said it is important that Vincentians do not allow lamentations to overpower the greatness of the faithfulness of God.
If you do that, we lose faith. And combining both faith and reason, we are taught that we must not allow any lamentations to crush us. Great is thy faithfulness. So today is a message of optimism and not one of lamentations.
Held annually on the first Monday in the month of October, the National Day of Prayer seeks to uplift the spirits of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines through prayer. Nikita Tony reporting for SVG-TV News.
Delivering the sermon at yesterday's prayer rally was Bishop Chesley Ferdinand, who noted that the devil's invasion of the mind cannot be fought in a literal sense, but instead this has to be done through the use of the Word of God.
The weapons that are at the disposal of the church, those weapons are mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. I must of necessity expose the concept of strongholds, because Satan has placed certain
certain things and have told us that these things are good and just. Satan has told us as a people how it is important for us to go on our own, to take matters in our own hands. Satan has caused us to embrace the philosophy that our reason must be exalted above Scripture, that we must put what we think and how we feel and put that above what God says. And I say to us, my friends, this is wrong. We cannot go above the laws of God. We cannot go above what God says.
Bishop Ferdinand said too much focus is given to the wrong ways of man and not the goodness of God.
The authority on the basis of God's words to attack the strongholds, those mindsets, the mindset that we can survive through crime and violence. We have to stop it. We have to pull it down. In fact, the church has the authority to pull them down and bring them on their feet. The radio personalities, it's all about what is going wrong. And I'm saying it's time that we start to declare what is going right. That God is doing something, and that God is at work, and that the hands of God is writing the history of our land. That we lift up the goodness of God and talk about how faithful God is and what God is doing. Our God is faithful.
He further made the request for more to be done in ensuring that the nation is uplifted through prayer.
We are saying that as a people of God, we would hold this nation up. We would pull down the strongholds, destroy the mindsets. We will not sit still. The only thing we ask, Dr. Gonsalves, is that the day of prayer, like how sometime more than 2 hours can be given for carnival celebrations and for people to parade our streets with naked bodies and declare in the name of culture that all is well. I am saying, give us some more time to jump on the streets of Kingstown and declare that Jesus is Lord.
Former opposition leader and member of parliament for East Kingstown, Annie Musis, has said the ruling Unity Labour Party, the ULP, has failed miserably at fighting crime in this country. Speaking on radio Monday, Eustace described the recent spate of gun-related crimes as a very serious situation. He said that while all Vincentians have the responsibility to help the nation, the matter must be addressed by the top brass in this country. Eustace said he is disappointed that his party's proposed social and spiritual redemption charter to help tackle crime in the country was not taken seriously by the ULP administration.
Lots of the things you've said in the past need to be done because the truth is coming home more and more, that we are getting more and more lawless in St. Vincent and Grenadines. And the nature of some of the crimes, including those of rape, are becoming worse and worse. I've heard about some events in recent days. Make you sick. It is obvious that the Unity Labour Party administration has failed miserably in fighting crime in St. Vincent and Grenadines. Hence, the NDP has seen it fit to draft a motion on crime, which includes the Spiritual and Social Redemption Charter. The document was tabled in the House of Assembly, and after all these years, it's still awaiting real debate.
Eustace called for a more scientific approach to tackle crime and also expressed the view that the Social and Redemption Charter, which was introduced 9 years ago, is still relevant today.
That is what he wrote. That's what he sent in 2010, you know. Well, last week we had the same thing. Unprecedented series of heinous crimes. Just last week, we had that again. A whole series where several people were murdered. And I go on with the motion. And whereas this trend has affected the lives of all Vincentians, resulting in a large number of our potentially productive young people being lost to crime, as can be evidenced by the number of youths in our prison population. The spiraling number of homeless youth roaming the streets of Kingston, and the creation of a neighborhood watch society in several communities. And whereas there is an insufficient number of rural libraries and like facilities, an absence of a girls' home to complement the Liberty Lodge Boys' Home, an inadequate number of rural counseling centers.
Meanwhile, Deputy Director of Marion House, Jeannie Oliver, is making a strong appeal for adult males to refrain from having sexual relations with children. In an interview with SVG-TV News, Oliver expressed concern that a number of young girls are being sexually molested in this country and warned perpetrators that they will face legal consequences for their action.
My brothers, my Vincentian brothers, I appeal to you. I appeal to you as a mother of 3 daughters and a grandmother of 1 to leave people's girl children alone, even your own. We have enough going on in our country to deal with, rather than for you to take a 6-year-old and sexually abuse that child. We do not have all the details. Yes, investigation is being carried out, but my brothers, young, middle-aged, old, I beg of you, the law will deal with you very, very harshly. Children under the age of 15 cannot, according to law, give you permission to do anything with them. Girls under the age of 15.
A contracting businessman of Owe is counting his lucky stars after escaping unhurt from what seemed like an attempted robbery in the Orange Hill area around 11 a.m. today. On his Facebook page, Arnett Pollard reported in a post that he was a victim of an attempted robbery and that bullets were fired at his vehicle by a masked gunman. Pollard, who was on his way from Georgetown to Owe, said a piece of tree branch was placed in the road and that he saw a man pointing a gun at him while another kept watch. He said he did not stop the vehicle and went straight to report the matter to the nearest police station, which was in Sandy Bay. Pollard said he is thankful for life as the situation could have ended badly for him. The matter is under police investigation. The Milton Cater Memorial Hospital received a much-needed boost as 2 health professionals joined its medical staff on Monday. The 2 doctors, one an anesthesiologist and the other a general surgeon, are here under a cooperation agreement between SVG and Cuba. On hand to welcome the medical professionals was Minister of Health Luke Brown, who said that their skills will aid the hospital in performing surgeries more efficiently.
But we anticipate that we'll have a good time together. And very importantly, we anticipate that this will help us to improve the efficiency with which we deliver services and improve healthcare outcomes in this country. We welcome you. We didn't quite have a literal red carpet, but there's a figurative red carpet on which we hope are able to walk. Thank you very much for being here. And we should probably follow these small proceedings, perhaps a little walk through the hospital, so you get a general view. I'm sure that the hospital administrator and others involved will make sure that as time goes by, you get to interact with all the persons necessary and you understand how we deliver our services here so that you can become integrated in our hospital culture while you bring ideas of your own that we could also build upon. Thank you very much.
Minister Brown also took the opportunity to encourage the professionals to practice their English as much as possible and thanked the Cuban government and people in assisting SVG to take care of the medical needs of its citizens.
so you're going to feel right at home. You know, I hope that doesn't lull you into an approach of speaking Spanish with them all the time and not practicing your English all the time. That's why we're back. You've come to help us fill some very important areas. The area of anesthesiology, the area of general surgery, and it is really a part and parcel of our push to make sure that we are able to cater for the healthcare needs of the population. We are a small, poor, developing country with limited resources. And there's no way that we could really turn out to graduate in all the areas of medical specialty on our own. And that is why we have such profound respect for the internationalist solidarity of Cuba. And it is a country that is a model for all the world. And we're happy that you are able to put your skills at our disposal.
Those in authority responsible for the planning of communities are being encouraged to study the historical records of the area they seek to develop in order to avoid disaster. This advice comes from civil engineer Glenn Fitzgerald as he spoke on Magic 103.7 Sunday Brunch program discussing issues relating to disaster preparedness and prevention. Stewart stated that in SVG, Vincentians have been erecting structures in areas prone to disasters and called on planning authorities to properly examine and consider the historical record of such areas.
Now what has happened? We built schools near to the river. We developed housing communities near to the river. And we put a hotel right next to the river. Right? When there's a flood, what happens? Disaster. And we try to deal with the disasters. But we must look at the historical records. We go in Georgetown. We go in Maracay. And look at what has happened in Dominica. People like to build near the rivers. You see what happened in Texas? What happened there? People build almost on swampland, develop it. And when the rains come and you have the flood event, what happens? They're swamped over. Disaster. Okay? We look at Mexico with the earthquake. We know for over 100 years.
Stewart added that given the recent experiences of the BVI and Dominica and other islands affected by the recent hurricanes, careful attention must be paid to the overall structural strength of hurricane shelters here in this country.
Let us look at all our hurricane shelters. What happened in Dominica to the hurricane shelters? What happened in Puerto Rico to the hurricane shelters? What happened in St. Martin to the hurricane shelters? The people who asked to leave your home and go to the hurricane shelter, they advised you, and what happened? Look at the destruction of the hurricane shelters. These that have been certified as shelters by the state, by the governments. Look at what has happened. So we have to look not only at how we build homes and so on, but how we build the shelters, how we build the essential facilities. What has happened to the hospitals in Puerto Rico? Hospitals, right? Which is classified in terms of importance. Very high up in terms of importance. No damage should occur to a hospital in a hurricane, because that's where we expect the sick and the injured to go to be attended to, right? But how do we design them? We have to design them now for category 5 at least.
Using the biblical example of the ancient Egyptians who used storage facilities to secure food in cases of famine was entrepreneur Leon Big Samuel, who called for similar facilities to be built in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Building a food resiliency in St. Vincent and the Grenadines should be utmost in this for us going now and going on into the future. And that's the reason why I'm pushing to say that project that we have already get the EU to agree that they will assist and they will finance it to build a food processing plant, state of the art, that will be able to help to mitigate. So that, like a time like now, we could have gone inside there and take food out, because this is a project we're talking about. It's not a 4x4, it's a massive, huge project. So we could have gone inside there, we could have got some to give to help other countries with, but we still have enough for ourselves. And that is exactly, remember how the children of Israel was able to eat from Egypt.
The Roads, Buildings and General Services Authority, BRAXA, has been engaged in road repair works across SVG and has completed Phase 1 work in areas of Edinburgh, Shrewsbury and Georgetown. BRAXA's technicians were in the field on Monday and explained the work done in each area.
The project so far is, the first phase of it is complete. We still have this section of the roadway to finish and some additional ones further wrong by the court in Edinburgh to complete. 120 tons of asphalt is used up here so far, and we did some patching also, which take us straight round to Atley Hall Main.
So what are the types of repairs you do on this area?
Well, we just asphalt repairs where we pat some holes and we overlay in the walls of the worst areas. We have just around this area to be completed. We have another section back there where the court is in Edinburgh. We have that area also to be completed. Going up to the 4th Road, we have some areas there to take out also.
We had a lot of work to do because we had to fill in the worst areas on the road, and for the past 2 weeks we've been laying asphalt on top of the road. So this area is completed now? No, it's not completed. We still have further on to do and 200 more feet back that way.
So what are some of the challenges you encountered?
The weather was a bit of a problem, but you know, we got some good days where we had good sunshine. So I think I know we did fairly well so far. Yes. Yes, it's smooth, it's nicely done, you know, well compacted, so I'm very pleased with the work around here so far.
Well, we're up in Chapman's, up in Georgetown. We just completed this about a couple last week. We just did 915 feet of road by 15. We used 96 tons of hot mix. So this is one of the projects here in Chapman's. We have about 2 more pieces of road up in Chapman's left to do. So this is phase 1 of the first one.